Hi, this is Mr. Ward, and this is Geometry Exit Ticket 30.2 Video Key. And let's take a look at the questions in here. Okay, so first of all, I'd like you to solve for r. Remember, there's going to be two answers. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the square root of r squared, and we're also going to get the square root of 96. Okay, and then we want to think about how we would get the factors, what factors we could get of 96. So 96 itself is not a perfect square. However, so let's deal with the r squared. The square root of r squared is r. And so the square root of 96. So let's break it down into factors. So 96 is going to be 2 times 48, which is going to be 2 times 24, which is going to be another 2 times 12. And 12 is going to be 2 times 6. Okay. And then 6 is going to be 2 times 3. All in parentheses. Now, a way of thinking about a perfect square is it's going to have pairs of the same factor. So x, so we got, 2, 1, 2, 3, so 3 2's, 4 2's, 5 2's, and a 3. Well, 5, I'm going to be able to split that in half. However, 4 2's, that is a perfect square. That's 16. Okay. And then this 2 times 3, we won't be able to get a perfect square out of. That'll be 6. But we can actually go ahead and go one more step and say r equals the square root of 16, which would be 4 square root of 6. However, it's plus or minus, or square root of 6. And that's the answer for that one. Two different answers. Now let's take a look at this one. So we've got n squared minus 4 equals 77. And so we want to figure out what n is. So it'll be helpful. If we want to get the square root of both sides, it will be helpful to separate n squared from this negative 4. So we can isolate the n squared and then get the square root of things. So to do that, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. So n squared will now become 4 plus 77, which is going to be 81, and that's very convenient for us because 81 is a perfect square. It's 9 squared. So we're going to say square root of n squared is going to equal the square root of 81. And so that means n is going to equal plus or minus 9. Okay, let's take a look at one more here. So I've given you this, reminded you of this proportional relationship. X is to h as h is to y, which means that h squared will equal x times y. So let's look at this triangle. So remembering that triangle CDA is congruent, is not congruent, is similar to triangle BDC. Okay, so CD is to DA as BD is to DC. Okay, so we can very quickly use a, so what's going to happen is we're going to have this is to this as this is to this. So 3 will be to x as x will be to 9. Okay, so we can say 3 is to x as x is to 9. Now, you'll probably recognize that x is in the h position, like this. And the 3 and the 9 happen to be in the y and x positions. So this is going to create a mean proportional. And it has already. 3 to x, 3 is to x as x is to 9. We do the cross product, we're going to get x squared equals 3 times 9. All right, so we now need 3 times. So now we need these. Actually, I'm not going to bother getting this square, getting the product of 3 and 9 because I see that 9 already is a perfect square. So we might be able to get somewhere with that. I'm going to get the square root of both sides. Okay, so square root of x squared. And that's going to equal the square root, pardon me, it's late, square root of 3 times 9. Okay, now we can get the square root of x squared, that's just x, and the square root of 3 times 9 is going to be 3 square root of 3. And that's, of course, going to be plus or minus. Okay, and now we are done with that. I hope that was helpful. So this is just an application of the x over h equals h over y, which becomes h squared equals xy. Don't forget to hit submit.